Shut up. You don't belong here. Officer Marcus Riley's voice tears through the packed federal courtroom. His face burns red as he glares at the black woman presenting evidence at the podium. You people come in here lying about good cops, destroying families, ruining lives. His finger stabs the air toward her. The woman continues speaking calmly. Your unit shows patterns of I said shut up. Riley charges forward, boots pounding marble. 20 phones start recording. She doesn't move, doesn't flinch, just keeps talking in that steady, professional voice that drives him insane. The slap echoes like a gunshot. Her head snaps sideways. The courtroom explodes in gasps. Know your place, Riley snarls. She touches her cheek, straightens her glasses. When she looks up, her eyes are ice cold. Something shifts in her stance. Her military training kicks in. Riley has no idea what's coming next. He has no idea who he just hit. Los Angeles hums with tension this Wednesday afternoon. Outside the federal courthouse, protesters wave signs reading Reform Now and Back the Blue. Inside the marble halls echo with footsteps of lawyers, activists, and reporters gathering for what everyone knows will be explosive. Courtroom 7C sits packed to capacity. Judge Maria Gonzalez presides over hearings that could reshape American policing forever. The air crackles with anticipation as cameras focus on the witness stand. At the podium stands Alicia Thompson, though most people in this room don't know her name. She wears a simple black suit, no jewelry, no badges of office. Her wire-rimmed glasses catch the light as she shuffles through manila folders thick with evidence. To everyone watching, she looks like just another expert witness. Maybe a professor, maybe a researcher. They have no idea she's a sitting member of Congress. Thompson keeps her identity hidden on purpose. She wants her evidence to speak, not her political status. Her soft voice carries clearly through the courtroom microphone as she presents statistics that make seasoned officers shift uncomfortably. In the past 4 years, excessive force complaints have increased 51% in predominantly minority neighborhoods, she says, clicking to her next slide. Behind her, Officer Marcus Riley stands at attention by the courtroom's side door. He was transferred here just last week from the 7th District. Disciplinary action disguised as a promotion. His supervisor told him he'd be providing security for another one of those police misconduct hearings. Riley didn't bother reading the briefing materials. He figured it was the same old story. Activists and troublemakers trying to tear down everything he'd spent 16 years building. At 39, Riley comes from 3 generations of cops. His grandfather walked the beat in the 1970s. His father became a detective before taking a bullet in 1996. His brother died in the line of duty just 3 years ago. To Riley, the badge isn't just a job. It's sacred family heritage. He watches Thompson with growing anger. Everything about her irritates him. Her calm demeanor, her fancy charts and graphs, the way she speaks like she knows what it's really like out there on the streets. Riley doesn't know that Thompson served 2 tours in Afghanistan as a Marine Corps captain. He doesn't know she earned a Bronze Star for valor. He doesn't know she can disarm a man twice her size in under 4 seconds. All he sees is another privileged activist with an agenda. Thompson continues her presentation, unaware of Riley's growing hostility. She's dealt with hostile audiences before. Angry town halls, contentious committee meetings, late-night congressional sessions that stretched until dawn. This feels routine. Officer misconduct complaints show clear patterns, she explains, her laser pointer highlighting key statistics. Certain units demonstrate significantly higher rates of civilian complaints, use of force incidents, and disciplinary actions. The gallery murmurs. Some nod in agreement, others shake their heads in disgust. Riley's jaw tightens. His hands clench into fists. He's heard this song before. Bleeding hearts with their statistics and studies, trying to destroy good men who put their lives on the line every single day. What Riley doesn't realize is that Thompson isn't just presenting random statistics. Every number on her slides comes from federal investigations. Every case study represents real people whose lives were shattered by police violence, and several of those cases involve his own unit, his own actions. Judge Gonzalez watches the proceedings carefully. She's seen tensions boil over in cases like this. That's why she specifically requested additional security. That's why Officer Riley stands guard, ready to maintain order if emotions run too high. Neither the judge nor anyone else in the courtroom realizes they've placed a ticking time bomb right behind the woman whose evidence is about to destroy him. Thompson advances to her next slide. Riley's photo appears on the screen, his official department headshot, alongside a list of civilian complaints dating back 8 years. The temperature in the room seems to drop 10 degrees. The courtroom holds its breath as Thompson clicks to her next slide. Riley's official police photograph fills the screen. His dress blues, confident smile, 8 years of civilian complaints scrolling below. Case Study 14 involves Officer Marcus Riley, District 7, Thompson announces calmly. Riley's face burns red. Every person in that packed courtroom stares at his photo while she reads his dirty laundry. Excessive force complaint, April 2020. Racial profiling, July 2020. Unauthorized arrest, October 2021. That's not true. Riley mutters loud enough for others to hear. Judge Gonzalez's gavel taps. Officer, maintain silence. Thompson clicks to video footage. Grainy body cam shows Riley yanking a black teenager from a car during a traffic stop. The kid's hands are raised, terrified. Riley slams him against the vehicle anyway. The gallery gasps. Suspect sustains broken wrist, facial lacerations, no weapons found, no drugs, no warrants, Thompson states matter-of-factly. Riley's hands shake with rage. She's making him look like a monster. She wasn't there. Another video plays. Riley shouting at a Hispanic woman during a domestic call. When she doesn't understand English fast enough, he grabs her arm roughly. Ma'am, when an officer gives orders, you follow immediately, his recorded voice echoes. The woman cries, trying to explain. Riley isn't listening. Judge Gonzalez frowns. The gallery shifts uncomfortably. Riley steps forward. Your Honor, she's taking everything out of context. Officer Riley, return to your post. Do not interrupt again. Thompson glances at him for the first time. Their eyes meet across the marble floor. She sees a man on the edge. He sees an enemy destroying his life. Thompson turns back to her microphone. The pattern continues through 19 documented incidents. Riley's radio crackles with his supervisor's warning to stay in position, but Riley's not listening anymore. All he hears is his reputation dying one statistic at a time. Day 2 arrives with Riley seething over his public humiliation. That woman destroyed his reputation in front of cameras, colleagues, and complete strangers. He needs answers. During his lunch break, Riley corners Officer Martinez from courthouse security. Who is that woman testifying about police misconduct? Martinez shrugs. Some expert witness. Why? She had access to my internal files, my body cam footage. How do some activists get federal investigation materials? Maybe she's connected. Martinez suggests, you know how these hearings work? They bring in professors, researchers, and people with credentials. Riley nods, satisfied with that explanation. In his mind, Thompson represents the liberal elite, privileged academics who've never walked a real beat, but think they understand police work. He spends his evening researching online. He finds a few articles mentioning police reform expert Alicia Thompson, but focuses only on comment sections calling her anti-cop and radical. Riley never notices the small print identifying her as Congresswoman Thompson. His rage filters out anything that doesn't confirm his assumptions. Day 3 brings fresh hell. Thompson presents audio recordings from police radio chatter. Riley's voice crackles through courtroom speakers during a robbery response last year. Units responding to armed robbery. Suspects described as 3 black males, early 20s. Normal so far. Then Thompson plays the unedited version. Units responding 3 black males. Usual suspects doing usual suspect things. Riley's recorded voice continues with obvious disdain. The courtroom tenses. Riley's casual racism broadcasts in high definition. Thompson moves to another recording. Riley and his partner discussing a traffic stop. Another one driving while black. Riley's voice laughs. Let's see what we can find. Gallery members gasp. Some shake their heads in disgust. Riley's face turns purple. These recordings were supposed to be confidential. How does this woman have access to internal police communications? Judge Gonzalez maintains stern order, but her disapproval shows clearly. Your Honor, Riley interrupts again. Those recordings are taken completely out of context. Officer Riley, final warning. One more outburst and you'll be removed from this courtroom. Thompson doesn't even look at him. She advances to her next exhibit with professional calm that drives Riley insane. Day 4 escalates further. Thompson presents systematic analysis showing Riley's unit targeting minority neighborhoods at rates 370% above district average. Her charts show arrest patterns, complaint ratios, use of force statistics. Every number damns Riley's unit deeper. Statistical analysis reveals clear bias and enforcement patterns. Thompson explains traffic stops in predominantly black neighborhoods occur at rates dramatically exceeding population demographics. Riley can't stay quiet. That's because that's where the crime is. Judge Gonzalez slams her gavel. Officer Riley, you're out of order. She's twisting statistics to fit her agenda. Riley shouts back. Bailiff, escort Officer Riley from my courtroom. 2 court officers move toward Riley, but he raises his hands. I'll control myself, Your Honor. Please. Judge Gonzalez studies him carefully. Last chance, officer. One more disruption, and you're banned from these proceedings. Riley returns to his post, burning with humiliation. This unknown woman is systematically destroying everything he's worked for. His reputation, his unit's reputation, his entire world view. Thompson continues her presentation as if nothing happened. That calm professionalism enrages Riley more than shouting would. Day 5 brings the nuclear option. Thompson presents video evidence of Riley planting evidence during a drug arrest. The body cam footage is crystal clear. Riley approaches a suspect's car during a traffic stop. He reaches into his own pocket, pulls out a small baggie, and drops it onto the passenger seat. Suspect, what's this? His recorded voice asks, pointing at the planted drugs. The courtroom erupts. Gallery members shout in outrage. Reporters frantically scribble notes. Riley watches his career end in real time. That arrest sent a man to prison for 4 years. That man had children, a family, a life Riley destroyed with planted evidence. Judge Gonzalez pounds her gavel repeatedly. Order. Order in this courtroom. Riley's vision blurs with rage. This woman has access to everything. Every mistake, every shortcut, every moment of weakness in his 16-year career. Thompson advances to her final slide. Pattern analysis indicates systematic misconduct across multiple incident categories. These 19 cases represent documented violations of citizens' constitutional rights. Riley can't breathe. She's calling him a criminal, a corrupt cop who violated his oath and destroyed innocent lives. His radio crackles. Riley, maintain position. Do not engage. But Riley's past the point of following orders. This woman has painted him as everything he swore he'd never become. She's made him the villain in his own story. Thompson checks her notes, preparing for her concluding statement. Riley watches from across the room, his hands clenched into fists. Tomorrow, she'll deliver final recommendations that could end not just his career, but careers of good officers across the entire department. He won't let that happen. Late Wednesday night, Thompson sits in her hotel room reviewing tomorrow's presentation. Her chief of staff, Elena, calls from Washington. Alicia, that officer is losing it. Security footage shows him pacing, talking to himself. Maybe you should reveal your congressional status before things escalate. Thompson removes her glasses, rubbing tired eyes. He doesn't know who I am, Elena. That's exactly why this evidence is so powerful. He's reacting to facts, not politics. But what if he snaps? Thompson walks to her window, watching Los Angeles lights twinkle below. Her military training taught her to recognize enemy behavior patterns. Riley exhibits classic signs of a man approaching complete breakdown. Then everyone sees what happens when officers think they can intimidate regular citizens without consequences. She says quietly, "You're not a regular citizen, Alicia. You're a member of Congress." But he doesn't know that. To him, I'm just another black woman challenging his authority. Tomorrow, I present my most damaging evidence, the systematic pattern that proves his unit deliberately targets minorities. Elena's voice tightens with concern. That'll push him over the edge. Thompson nods to her reflection in the hotel window. Exactly. My Afghanistan experience taught me that sometimes the best strategy is letting your enemy defeat themselves. She opens her laptop, reviewing security protocols for federal courtrooms. If Riley loses control, she wants maximum witnesses and complete documentation. Elena, make sure all major networks have camera crews tomorrow. I want everything recorded. Alicia, you're playing with fire. Thompson closes her laptop with quiet determination. I'm ending this the right way. When Riley shows his true nature, the world will understand why we need police reform. Her phone buzzes with a text from her teenage daughter. Mom, be careful tomorrow. I saw the news coverage. Thompson smiles, typing back, Don't worry, sweetheart. Mom knows how to handle bullies. She doesn't mention that Riley outweighs her by 80 lb and carries a service weapon. She doesn't mention that her Krav Maga training hasn't been tested in real combat for 4 years. Tomorrow, she'll find out if preparation trumps desperation. Thursday morning arrives with tension thick enough to cut. The courthouse steps swarm with reporters, protesters, and curious onlookers. Inside, courtroom 7C fills beyond capacity. Every seat taken, people standing along walls, cameras positioned for maximum coverage. Judge Gonzalez calls the session to order. Ms. Thompson, please proceed with your concluding presentation. Thompson approaches the podium carrying a thick manila folder. She adjusts her microphone, glances briefly at Riley standing rigid by the side door, then begins. Your Honor, today I present comprehensive analysis demonstrating systematic misconduct patterns that demand immediate intervention. Riley's jaw clenches. Here comes the final character assassination. Thompson clicks to her first slide. Statistical analysis reveals targeting patterns that violate constitutional equal protection guarantees. Her laser pointer highlights neighborhood maps color-coded by enforcement activity. Deep red zones correspond exactly with minority population concentrations. Officer Riley's unit conducted traffic stops in these areas at rates exceeding 370% of demographic justification. Translation. They deliberately hunted in black neighborhoods. Riley steps forward involuntarily. That's not hunting. That's responding to crime patterns. Judge Gonzalez's gavel cracks. Officer Riley, final warning. Thompson continues without acknowledging the interruption. Arrest-to-conviction ratios tell the real story. Riley's unit 37% conviction rate. Department average 68%. This suggests arrest based on bias rather than evidence. She advances to video compilation footage. Exhibit 25. Pattern behavior analysis. The screen fills with clips of Riley during various arrests, all showing the same aggressive approach, all involving minorities, all demonstrating unnecessary force escalation. In one clip, Riley yanks an elderly black man from his car during a broken tail light stop. The man moves slowly due to arthritis. Riley interprets this as resistance. "Sir, when I say move, you move." Riley's recorded voice shouts, "Officer, I'm trying. My joints. I don't want to hear excuses." The elderly man stumbles. Riley grabs his arm roughly, spinning him against the vehicle. Gallery members gasp in horror. This isn't law enforcement. This is abuse of power. Riley's face burns with shame and rage. She's cherry-picking his worst moments, ignoring context, making him look like a monster. Thompson advances to her most damaging evidence. Exhibit 26 represents the most serious violation in our case study. A new video begins playing. Crystal clear body cam footage from 9 months ago. Riley approaches a young black father during a traffic stop. The man sits calmly in his vehicle, hands visible on the steering wheel, following perfect compliance protocol. "License and registration," Riley demands. "Yes, sir. Reaching for my glove compartment now." The driver moves slowly, telegraphing every motion. But as Riley walks around the vehicle's passenger side, the camera catches something horrifying. Riley reaches into his own pocket, pulls out a small plastic baggie of white powder, and drops it onto the passenger seat. The courtroom explodes. "What the hell is this?" Riley's recorded voice asks, pointing at the planted evidence. "Officer, I don't know what that is. I've never seen that before. Step out of the vehicle. You're under arrest for possession of cocaine." The video continues showing Riley handcuffing the terrified father while his 3-year-old daughter screams from her car seat. Gallery members shout in outrage, "Monster! Corrupt cop! How many others?" Judge Gonzalez pounds her gavel repeatedly. "Order! Order! In this courtroom!" Riley watches his world collapse in high definition. That arrest destroyed a family. The father lost his job, his apartment, his custody rights, all because Riley needed to boost his drug arrest statistics. Thompson lets the video impact sink in before speaking again. This fabricated arrest sent an innocent man to prison for 20 months. His daughter grew up without her father because Officer Riley planted evidence. Riley can't breathe. The walls close in. Every face in that courtroom looks at him with disgust and hatred. "Your Honor, she's lying," he shouts desperately. "That video is edited. It's fake news." "Officer Riley, you're out of order. She's destroying innocent officers with doctored evidence." Thompson turns slightly, making eye contact with Riley for the second time. Her voice remains professionally calm. "Officer, Federal Forensic Analysis confirms video authenticity. No editing, no manipulation." Riley's mind snaps. This woman has systematically destroyed his reputation, his career, his entire identity. She's made him the poster child for everything wrong with American policing. "You don't know what you're talking about." Riley roars, abandoning his post. His heavy boots thunder on marble as he storms toward the podium. 20 phones start recording. News cameras swivel to follow his approach. "You activists come in here with your lies and statistics, trying to destroy good men who risk their lives every day." Thompson doesn't move, doesn't step back, doesn't show fear. You've never walked a beat, never faced down a gang member, never held a dying partner. Riley's voice cracks with emotion and rage. He reaches the podium in 5 quick strides. Thompson continues speaking into her microphone with unshakable composure. "Pattern analysis indicates systematic targeting of minority communities through shut up." Riley's hand flies across her face with the sound of a thunderclap. The slap echoes through absolute silence. Her head snaps sideways. Her glasses fly off, clattering on marble. Know your place and keep your mouth shut, you lying. Time freezes. Every camera captures the moment. Every witness holds their breath. Thompson touches her reddening cheek. She bends calmly to retrieve her glasses, never breaking eye contact with Riley. When she straightens, something has changed in her posture. Her shoulders square. Her stance widens slightly. Military bearing replaces academic demeanor. Riley raises his hand for a second blow. Thompson moves. 3 seconds of precision violence unfold in slow motion. Second one. Thompson catches Riley's descending wrist with her left hand, stopping his swing mid-arc. Second two, she steps inside his reach and drives her right palm upward into his solar plexus. The strike hits with surgical accuracy, disrupting his diaphragm and short-circuiting his nervous system. Second three. As Riley doubles over gasping, Thompson follows with an upward elbow strike to his jaw. The impact snaps his head back and switches off his consciousness like a light bulb. Riley drops like a felled tree. His 210 LB frame hits marble with a sickening thud. The courtroom erupts in chaos. People scream, cameras flash, Judge Gonzalez's gavel pounds uselessly. Thompson calmly adjusts her glasses and returns to the microphone. As I was saying, Your Honor, systematic misconduct requires systematic reform. Riley lies motionless on cold marble, his career ending where his arrogance began. The viral video explodes across social media within minutes. #Congresswoman knockout trends worldwide. The 3-second clip of Thompson destroying Riley gets 50 million views in 6 hours. But the celebration doesn't last long. Thursday morning brings federal charges against Thompson that shock everyone. Assault and battery on a police officer, assault on a federal employee, disturbing the peace in a federal courthouse. Each charge carries potential prison time. The legal trap springs with devastating precision. District Attorney Carlos Ruiz, an ambitious prosecutor with political aspirations, holds a press conference outside the courthouse. News crews packed the steps where protesters gathered just days before. Congresswoman Thompson may claim self-defense, but the evidence tells a different story. Ruiz announces to rolling cameras. She used military-level violence against Officer Riley, who was attempting to maintain courtroom order. Ruiz plays the viral video in slow motion, frame by frame. Officer Riley placed his hand on Miss Thompson's shoulder, a standard restraint technique. Her response was immediate, brutal, and excessive. He pauses the video at the moment of impact. Riley's unconscious body froze mid-fall. Ladies and gentlemen, Congresswoman Thompson's hands are registered as deadly weapons due to her military training. She chose violence when de-escalation was possible. The media narrative shifts overnight. Conservative outlets seize the prosecutorial momentum. Violent Congresswoman attacks officer doing his job. Military training makes politicians' response disproportionate. Should elected officials be allowed to assault law enforcement? Thompson finds herself isolated as colleagues distance themselves from controversy. Congressional leadership suggests she step back from the police reform bill pending legal resolution. Her approval ratings plummet from 74% to 31% in 3 days. Meanwhile, Riley transforms from villain to victim with masterful public relations. He appears on news shows wearing a neck brace and speaking with a slight slur that medical experts privately call performance symptoms. "I was just trying to restore order in that courtroom," Riley tells sympathetic interviewers. "Yes." I touched her shoulder gently to guide her back to appropriate behavior. Her response was like being hit by a professional fighter. The neck brace becomes his prop. The bandaged forehead adds visual sympathy. Riley's lawyers coach him on victim language and traumatic stress responses. "I have children, you know. Riley continues, his voice breaking slightly. They saw their father knocked unconscious on national television by someone who's supposed to represent justice and fairness. Public opinion splits dangerously. #Justice for Riley battles #stand with Alicia across social media platforms. Police unions rally around Riley as a symbol of officers under attack. They organize protests outside Thompson District Office, demanding her resignation. First they attack our budgets, then our reputations. Now they're physically assaulting officers, declares Police Union President Tony Rivera. Congresswoman Thompson represents everything wrong with anti-police sentiment in America. Ruiz builds his case methodically. Medical experts testify about Riley's injuries, mild concussion, whiplash, potential long-term cognitive effects. The prosecution argues Thompson military training obligated her to show restraint. She could have called for help. Ruiz argues in pre-trial hearings she could have stepped away. She could have used verbal de-escalation. Instead, she chose to deploy lethal force against a police officer. Defense attorneys line up to represent Thompson, but she makes a stunning decision that shocks everyone. She'll defend herself. Elena pleads with her during a strategy session in Thompson Congressional Office. "Alicia, you can't. This isn't a political hearing. This is a criminal court. They want to put you in prison." Thompson sits calmly behind her desk, reviewing case law. "Elena, I spent my military career defending constitutional principles. I won't hide behind expensive lawyers when those same principles are under attack. But you could lose everything. I could lose everything by staying silent, too." Thompson closes her law books with quiet determination. "If I let them criminalize self-defense, every woman who fights back becomes a potential felon." The pretrial discovery process reveals the case's true nature. Thompson legal team uncovers evidence Ruiz tried to suppress: Riley's complete disciplinary record, 47 excessive force complaints over 16 years, internal affairs investigations that were mysteriously closed without action, settlement payments totaling $1.2 million to Riley's victims over the past decade, social media posts where Riley called Thompson a lying activist and promised to handle the situation, audio recordings of Riley telling fellow officers he planned to shut down Thompson presentation, medical records showing Riley's severe injuries required no prescription medication stronger than aspirin. But Ruiz fights to exclude most of this evidence, arguing it's irrelevant to the specific incident in question. "Your Honor, Officer Riley's past conduct doesn't justify Congresswoman Thompson's violent response." Ruiz argues during motion hearings. She didn't know about prior complaints when she chose to assault him. Judge Maria Gonzalez, the same judge who witnessed the original incident, finds herself in an impossible position. The case has become a referendum on police accountability, women's rights, and political power. Outside the courthouse, the battle lines are drawn. Supporters rally behind both sides. Thompson defenders argue she stood up to a corrupt system. Riley supporters claim she represents dangerous anti-police sentiment. The trial date approaches with the weight of national attention. Thompson faces 5 years in federal prison if convicted on all charges. Ruiz believes he has an unwinnable case. Video evidence shows clear assault. Thompson used disproportionate force. The law seems straightforward, but he doesn't know about Thompson's secret weapon. The truth about what really happened in that courtroom, and why Riley attacked her in the first place. The discovery that will change everything sits in federal investigation files that Ruiz never bothered to read completely. Thompson has been preparing for this battle her entire adult life. First as a Marine, then as a Congresswoman. Now she'll find out if justice really is blind, or if it just looks the other way when convenient. The federal courthouse transforms into a media circus as United States versus Thompson begins. Every major network positions cameras outside. Protesters line the streets with competing signs. Justice for Alicia and Cops Lives Matter. Inside courtroom 7C, the same room where everything started. Jury selection reveals America's deep divisions. 12 citizens, 8 women, 4 men, 6 white, 4 black, 2 Hispanic, will decide whether self-defense or assault occurred that day. District Attorney Ruiz presents his opening statement with prosecutorial confidence. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence is simple. Congresswoman Thompson used deadly force against Officer Riley. The law is clear. Her response was excessive, disproportionate, and criminal. He plays the viral video one more time. Riley's unconscious body hitting marble echoes through speakers. 3 seconds of violence that could have been avoided if she'd simply asked for help instead of choosing assault. Thompson rises for her opening statement. No legal team surrounds her. No expensive consultants whisper strategy. She stands alone behind the defense table. Members of the jury, I will prove that I used minimum necessary force to stop an ongoing assault. But more importantly, I'll show you why Officer Riley attacked me and why this case represents everything wrong with accountability in law enforcement. The prosecution calls Riley as their star witness. He approaches the stand wearing his dress uniform, moving slightly slower than necessary. The neck brace is gone, but he occasionally touches his jaw as if pain lingers. Ruiz guides Riley through sympathetic testimony. Officer Riley, please tell the jury what happened that day. Riley's voice carries carefully rehearsed emotion. I was providing security when the witness began disrupting court proceedings with inflammatory statements about police officers. When I attempted to maintain order, she immediately attacked me with military-level violence. How did you attempt to maintain order? I placed my hand gently on her shoulder to guide her away from the microphone. Standard crowd control technique, nothing aggressive. Ruiz nods sympathetically. What happened next? She grabbed my wrist and started hitting me. Everything went black after that. Next thing I remember, I was waking up on the floor with paramedics checking my pulse. The prosecution's medical expert testifies about Riley's injuries, mild concussion, whiplash, possible long-term cognitive effects from the assault. Ruiz builds his case methodically. Thompson used excessive force. Her military training made her dangerous. Riley was just doing his job. Then Thompson begins her cross-examination of Riley. She approaches the witness stand with quiet intensity, carrying a thick folder of documents. Her voice remains professionally calm, but something predatory lurks beneath the surface. Officer Riley, you testified that you gently touched my shoulder. Let's examine that claim. Thompson activates the courtroom's video system. The viral footage appears on screens throughout the room. Officer Riley, does this look gentle to you? The video plays in slow motion, Riley's open palm striking Thompson's face with obvious force. The crack of impact echoes through speakers. Riley shifts uncomfortably. The camera angle is misleading. I see. So, you're claiming this video is inaccurate. Camera angles can be deceptive. Thompson advances to her next line of attack. Officer Riley, how many excessive force complaints have you received in your 16-year career? Ruiz objects. Relevance, Your Honor. I'll allow it. Judge Gonzalez rules. Riley hesitates. A few. It comes with the job. A few? Let's be specific. Thompson opens her folder. 47 complaints. Isn't that correct? Objection. Overruled. Answer the question, Officer Riley. Riley's confident demeanor cracks slightly. Yes, but most were unfounded. Most, according to internal affairs records. How many resulted in disciplinary action? Riley's lawyer whispers urgently, but Thompson continues relentlessly. 12 sustained complaints, Officer Riley. 12 times your department found you guilty of misconduct, yet you remained on active duty. Why? Ruiz objects repeatedly, but the damage accumulates. Thompson systematically dismantles Riley's credibility with his own recorded actions. She presents audio recordings of Riley using racial slurs during arrests. video footage of him planting evidence, witness testimony about his threatening behavior towards civilians. Officer Riley, on April 16, 2022, you told Officer Martinez, and I quote, "Sometimes these people need to be reminded who's really in charge. What did you mean by these people?" Riley's composure completely collapses. "I meant criminals, people who don't respect authority. You meant black people, didn't you?" "No, that's not what I meant." Thompson plays another recording. Riley's voice fills the courtroom. Another driving while black situation. "Let's see what we can pin on this one." The jury watches Riley's face turn red with embarrassment and rage. "Officer Riley, isn't it true that you attacked me because you couldn't tolerate a black woman presenting evidence of your misconduct?" "That's not true." "Isn't it true that you never bothered to learn my identity because you assumed I was just another troublemaker you could intimidate?" Riley explodes exactly as Thompson predicted. "You people always play the race card. You got your position because of affirmative action, not because you earned it." The courtroom gasps. Ruiz buries his head in his hands. Riley's mask finally falls completely. Thompson remains ice-cold calm. "Thank you, Officer Riley. No further questions?" Thompson takes the stand in her own defense. She speaks directly to the jury with quiet authority. "Members of the jury, I served 2 tours in Afghanistan defending American principles. I've faced enemy fire, improvised explosives, and life-threatening situations most people can't imagine." She pauses, making eye contact with each juror. "Officer Riley slapped me because he thought I was powerless. He thought he could silence me with violence because I appeared to be just another black woman. He could intimidate." Thompson describes her military training in precise detail. Krav Maga teaches proportional response. "I could have broken Officer Riley's neck. I could have crushed his windpipe. I could have inflicted permanent damage." She demonstrates the movements in slow motion, showing the jury exactly how controlled her response was. "Instead, I use the minimum force necessary to stop his assault." 3 strikes. Block, disable, neutralize. Textbook defensive technique. Ruiz's cross-examination fails miserably. Thompson answers every question with calm precision, never losing composure despite aggressive questioning. The closing arguments reveal the case's true stakes. Ruiz makes a final plea. Congresswoman Thompson chose violence when other options existed. The law applies equally to everyone, regardless of political position. Thompson addresses the jury one last time. Officer Riley represents a system that believes some people can be assaulted without consequences. Today, you decide whether that system is right. Jury deliberation lasts 4 hours and 17 minutes. When they return, the foreman stands. On the charge of assault and battery, we find the defendant not guilty. The courtroom erupts in celebration. Thompson maintains her composure, but tears glisten in her eyes. Justice has been served, but the real victory is just beginning. The courthouse steps explode into celebration as Thompson emerges victorious. Supporters lift signs reading, "Justice served and self-defense is not a crime." Cameras capture every moment as she addresses the crowd with quiet dignity. "Today proves that no one, regardless of their badge or position, is above the law," Thompson declares. "And no one, regardless of their race or gender, is below its protection." The crowd roars approval chants of "Alicia." Alicia echo off federal building walls. Riley's downfall accelerates rapidly. Within hours of the verdict, the Metropolitan Police Department fires him for conduct unbecoming an officer. His union, embarrassed by his racist courtroom outburst, withdraws all support. Federal prosecutors file civil rights violation charges based on his recorded statements and planted evidence. The FBI opens investigations into every arrest Riley made over 16 years. Dozens of wrongfully convicted victims line up with lawyers demanding justice. Riley's personal life crumbles simultaneously. His wife files for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences and public humiliation. His children refuse contact, ashamed to share his name. The family home goes into foreclosure as legal bills mount. His pension disappears due to felony conviction. Job applications get rejected the moment employers Google his name. The viral video of his knockout follows him everywhere, a permanent reminder of consequences. Meanwhile, Thompson experiences complete vindication on every front. Her approval ratings skyrocket to 84%, the highest for any freshman congresswoman in decades. Congressional leadership apologizes for distancing themselves and fast-tracks her police reform legislation. The Sojourner Truth. Police Accountability Act passes both houses with overwhelming bipartisan support. House vote 289, 146. Senate vote 6436. The president signs it in a Rose Garden ceremony with Thompson at his side. The legislation revolutionizes American policing overnight. Body cameras become mandatory for all federal law enforcement. Independent oversight boards gain subpoena power. Officers with excessive force complaints face automatic review. Thompson's story spreads globally, inspiring similar reforms worldwide. The Thompson Standard becomes international shorthand for proportional self-defense against authority figures who abuse their power. Stand-up like Alicia trends across social media platforms as millions share stories of standing up to bullies. Self-defense classes report 400% enrollment increases, particularly among women of color. The viral video takes on mythical status. 3 seconds of precision that changed everything. Military academies study Thompson technique. Diplomatic training programs use her composure under pressure as a case study. Personal transformation follows professional vindication. Thompson receives thousands of marriage proposals from admirers worldwide, but chooses to remarry quietly, a fellow veteran who respects her independence and strength. Her teenage daughter, inspired by her mother's courage, receives an appointment to West Point. "I want to serve like Mom did," she tells reporters. "But maybe I'll become president instead of congresswoman." Thompson keeps a photo of Riley's arrest on her congressional office desk. Not for revenge, but as a reminder that preparation prevents problems. When visitors ask about it, she simply says, "That's what happens when you assume you know who you're dealing with." 6 months later, documented changes reshape American law enforcement. Police misconduct complaints drop 67% in major cities as officers realize actions have consequences. Federal courthouse incidents decrease 78% as security personnel receive proper training. Government official harassment reports fall 45% as potential attackers think twice. The ripple effects continue expanding. International security agencies study the Riley Protocol. What not to do when confronting unknown individuals. Diplomatic Corps report 89% reduction in mistaken identity incidents. Riley serves his federal sentence in minimum security prison, occasionally seeing his viral knockout on television. Fellow inmates call it the slap heard around the world. He finally understands what his ignorance cost him. Thompson's legacy grows beyond single legislation. She becomes the quiet congresswoman who let her actions speak louder than words. Her military bearing and unshakable composure under pressure inspire millions. The lesson resonates worldwide. Sometimes the biggest mistakes come from assuming you know who you're dealing with. And sometimes the biggest victories come from showing exactly who you are when tested. Statistical revolution confirms lasting change. Asterisk security protocol compliance up 96%. Asterisk self-defense training enrollment sustained 340% increase. Asterisk federal workplace incidents down 78%. Asterisk cross-agency coordination improved 67%. Thompson walks through the Capitol with new respect from colleagues who witnessed her grace under fire. She wears a small congressional pin, now not for protection, but to help others do their jobs properly. But the story's impact reaches far beyond one courthouse, one cop, or even one congresswoman. It proves that courage, preparation, and composure can change the world when someone finally says enough. 3 years later, the anniversary of the slap that changed everything became National Recognition Day, celebrating the importance of knowing who you serve and protect before making assumptions. The Riley Protocol, named ironically after the officer whose ignorance sparked worldwide reform, revolutionizes security training globally. Federal buildings from Washington to Tokyo implement verify before confront procedures. Diplomatic incidents drop 89% as officials properly identify visitors before challenging them. Thompson chairs the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Civil Rights, having authored 23 pieces of landmark legislation. Nobel Peace Prize nomination arrives for her criminal justice reform work. Time magazine names her Person of the Decade for reshaping American policing through 3 seconds of courage. The viral video continues generating 15,000 daily views across platforms, studied in self-defense classes worldwide, analyzed in diplomatic training seminars, memed into dozens of languages. It symbolizes consequences for willful ignorance and the power of preparation over assumption. Educational revolution spreads globally. Alicia Thompson Leadership Institutes operate in 31 cities, teaching situational awareness and constitutional civics. Military academies include her case study and command training. Corporate America adopts verification before confrontation policies. International impact stories flood social media. Tokyo security guards prevent diplomatic incidents by properly identifying visiting congressmen before challenging suspicious behavior. A London police officer credits Thompson's story for making him verify credentials before confronting civilians who turned out to be undercover MI5. Berlin government buildings adopt Riley prevention protocols. #verify before confronting becomes a global hashtag with 2.8 million posts. Government workers worldwide wear better identification. Security forces implement assumption audits examining bias and threat assessment. Riley serves year 4 of federal sentence working in the prison library, helping inmates with legal research. Divorced, minimal contact with children who changed their surnames. Occasional interviews where he admits, "I destroyed my life because I chose not to learn who I was supposed to protect." His story becomes a cautionary tale taught in police academies. What happens when officers let prejudice override procedure? Personal transformation stories inspire millions. Maria, 28. Watching Thompson stay calm under attack taught me to control my reactions during crisis situations. David, 35. Security guard, who credits training from Thompson case with preventing workplace violence through proper identification procedures. Ashley, 19. West Point cadet, inspired by Thompson military bearing under pressure. Statistical revolution continues 3 years later. Government official harassment down 71% asterisk, mistaken identity confrontations down 84% asterisk, security protocol compliance up 98% asterisk, federal workplace incidents down 81%. Thompson approval rating holds steady at 79%. Presidential speculation grows as colleagues recognize her unique combination of military experience, legislative skill, and proven grace under fire. She still rides Metro to work, now with discreet security. Her daughter graduated valedictorian, heading to West Point, following maternal footsteps. Thompson keeps an updated photo of Riley in prison uniform, reminder that choices have lasting consequences. The continuing legacy. Thompson's calm response becomes a textbook example of leadership under pressure. Studied by everyone from diplomats to CEOs to parents teaching children about conflict resolution, Her quiet strength proves that sometimes the most powerful response to aggression is controlled precision rather than escalated violence. Call to action. The story of Alicia Thompson proves that sometimes life's most important moments come when we're tested by people who completely underestimate us. Have you ever watched someone's assumptions destroy their entire future in real time? Share this story if you believe in the power of staying calm under pressure and letting your actions speak louder than your words. Hit that subscribe button for more incredible stories of ordinary people who became extraordinary by refusing to let others define their limits. Most importantly, when was the last time you verified who you were dealing with before making dangerous assumptions? Share your story about the importance of proper preparation in the comments below. Let's build a community that chooses verification over assumption. Remember, in a world full of Rileys making assumptions, be a Thompson, prepared, professional, and powerful when it matters most. Your moment might be just one confrontation away. What's your moment of standing up to someone who underestimated you? Tell us below. Images of security personnel worldwide properly checking credentials, women in self-defense classes, Thompson continuing congressional work with quiet confidence, and the viral video playing on screens globally. 3 seconds that changed everything. Marcus Riley learned too late that assumptions can destroy everything you've built. Alicia Thompson proved that preparation and composure can change everything you want to build. The choice, as always, is yours. Subscribe button, related videos about assumption checking and preparation.